there's association with the Bible because they believe the Bible has been corrupted.
Yes.
Right? No, I have a slightly different opinion.
Okay. So what's your opinion?
My opinion is
Yeah.
that when we look at the Bible the way it is, it's a compilation of, some of it might be scripture, some of it's reports, some of it it's letters, right? So from that point of view, if we compare it to the Quran, it's not the same thing. Because so the Quran is slightly different. The Quran is more centralized in the sense that it's within a region, it's within one language,
And the time as well.
within one time period. That's why I've always advocated for people, especially Christians and Muslims, to stop comparing the two, because I don't compare Shakespeare to Oliver Twist. Hold on, let me think of a bad example. I don't compare Shakespeare to Eric Hobsbawm's book on history. Okay? Because Shakespeare is very creative, he's very, although he might reference some history, but he's very, it's poetry, it's a play, it's different, it has a different function. Eric Hobsbawm, he's a sociologist, so he thinks about history. There's different books, right? They have different functions, even though there's commonalities with it. Now, I do understand why some Muslims that make the comparison, because the Bible is upheld by the Christians as the Word of God. Right? So that's why I see why they're like to do the comparison. I think once you start to really look at the two things, you see that, okay, they're slightly different. Slightly different.
Yeah. But the thing is, as a Christian, Bible is what we use. If we want to get to know about God, that's what we use.
Yeah.
And that's what teaches us about God. The same thing with Muslims, Quran is what you use. Then if we say these two are from the same God, as Muslim claims, so we should find similarities in it if it's true. From the point of Christian, do you understand that?
Yeah.
Like, okay, if we say, oh, we want to follow Muslim, we should see similarities in it in order for us to follow it.
Hey, how you doing? And there are.
But what we see is a lot of contradictions.
No, I think
A lot of things that are not, that they don't go together.
it's like there are similarities and there's also contradictions between the car and the motorbike. They're both vehicle.
Yeah.
They both have motors. They both have wheels. But like the design and
They're different. Yeah.
different, right?
Yeah.
So you see, for example, with the Bible, and I thought about the Bible's the document that we call the Bible, the document that we have today.
Yeah.
I thought about it when I start to engage with it. And again, I talk about this a lot, and I promise I will read Mark and the other Gospels as well.
Yeah, okay.
But I did some deep diving in John.
Yeah.
And one thing I realized was that John, the way I was reading it, it was a bit like Hadith. It was a bit like Hadith.
Yeah,
because
I think some parts in the Bible is like a date as well.
Yeah.
Sayings of
yeah. Because it was a bit more about John reporting or talking to eyewitnesses, right? So we Muslims, you're right, we derive our judgment or moral judgment from the Quran, but we also derive it from the Hadith.
Hadith as well, yeah.
Right? So the Bible is kind of like one,
Everything together, yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So but like the Quran, I think the unique claim is that look, this is directly from God, right? This here is no the man of word, the man of word. If it's mentioned, is mentioned by God.
Yes.
Because there are conversations between the Pharaoh and Moses. They speak in the Quran. So it's the man of word, the man of.
But it was God that was reporting
God
it.
is reporting it.
Yeah.
So that's the slight difference. But I think if you fundamentally look at the message, do you really think there's a difference?
There is. That's exactly. That's what I was trying to say to you.
Yeah.
That okay, if this is from the same God, then we shouldn't find something, because according to Bible, there's certain things that you don't do. If you do it, it leads to. Let me quickly read this Bible verse.
Yeah.
I just so that you can understand.
Yeah.
Proverbs 14:12. There's a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. You understand, yeah? So there's some things that people see, they read it, they like it, but doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. You understand?
Yeah.
So yes, Quran is there. People like some things inside it, like Muslim like, but there's some things there that if you look at it, you should know that this cannot lead you to heaven. But the thing is this, let's say, whatever, say for example, last week we were talking about child marriage and all that. If it's from God, it will lead you to heaven. So far it's from God. It doesn't matter what people say. It will lead you to heaven. You understand? But the thing is this, when it now comes to Bible and Quran, there are some things that Bible says. And if it's from God, we shouldn't see something that will contradict it inside Quran. Like muta, that's what I want to talk to you about. We talk about child, this is young, don't let me use child anymore. So,
Yeah, you
muta,
said it again.
yeah. So muta, in the Bible, God condemns prostitution totally in the Bible. But when we see it in the Quran, it was allowed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this goes back to our conversation last
Yeah.
week. It also goes back to the idea, and then obviously you corrected yourself here about child marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing like it in the Quran that promotes child marriage.
No. What I said is,
No,
instead
no.
of using child,
I know,
will
but
use too young.
I know, because people are watching, so I have to kind of respond. So yeah, and you corrected yourself. You said you're too young.
Yeah.
And then last week, I think people can watch this as well. There was a very wide way on how to describe too young,
Yeah.
and it's very depending on the context. And I remember bringing up the definition for child according to the Bible, and it's depending on the context. And I feel like we can apply the same methodology when it comes to how a young child is described. In fact, that verse that you mentions all the different possibilities of what that verse could
I
mean.
missed one part. When you finish, I'll show
Yeah.
you. I missed one part. In that.
Yeah. Now, the Quran makes very clear how salvation can be gained.
Yeah.
Okay? It makes it very clear. And salvation is gained through the mercy of God, first and foremost. Secondly, it is gained by the articles of belief. Righteousness is very clearly defined. What constitutes righteousness, and if you follow righteousness, you will gain paradise eventually, right? But that is divided into two. It's one, the things you believe, and then the things you do. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But these are like just prerequisites, because at the end of the day, it's mercy. Because for us human beings, you can proclaim to have all the beliefs correct, and you can do all the right things. But the intention, I don't know.
You don't know.
God knows.
Yeah.
And that's where the mercy part comes in.
But when you say belief, what do you mean by belief?
Okay, so one of the beliefs that I must have is that God has sent many books before, which includes the Injil.
Yeah.
My belief is also that God has sent prophets, right? My belief also is to believe there's a day that will be established called the Day of Judgment, Yom Qiyamah. I have to believe in this, right? And then that's it. Once I believe these things, it should then encourage me to do certain things.
Okay.
To feed the poor, to give the things that I love the most to people, right? So this is how salvation is gained. So as a Christian, I don't see how that goes against your beliefs.
But I think you missed one thing.
Yeah.
That belief that you're talking about, where is it coming from? It has to be someone. It has to be coming from someone. Because, like, as you know, there's a lot of gods out there. Thousands, millions. So it has to be from who? Is it coming from Yahweh? Is this belief coming from Yahweh? Is it from Allah? Is it from Buddha? You understand? Because I was going to ask you this. When you're talking about belief, there are people that are not Christians. They are not Muslim. And say, for example, they follow Buddha. And they do good things. Does that mean they'll go to heaven?
It depends. If those people haven't heard of Islam,
They have.
they have.
Yeah.
Is God for God to judge? I don't know. Okay, hold on. They have heard of Islam,
Yes.
and then what happened?
They just believe Buddha is God.
Okay.
And they believe that if they do right,
Yeah.
good things,
Yeah.
righteous deed,
Yeah.
they will go to heaven.
Yeah. Well, the thing is this: if they've heard of Islam,
Yeah.
and Islam has made a claim that
Allah is God.
Allah's God, and the only religion with God is Islam,
Yeah.
and the Buddhist is aware of it, and he's understood it,
Yeah.
and then rejects it,
Yeah.
then it's very dire.
That's what I'm saying. So that means
It's
your
very
belief has to be tied to a God.
Yeah, it has. Well, it has to be. Your belief has to be tied to a revealed tradition.
Not a God.
Oh yeah, you have to believe in God, of course. Yeah.
So that God, that's what I'm saying, that this is what we need to establish. Because like I said, there's so many out there.
Yeah.
Which one is the right God?
Yeah.
That's what we need to try and find out.
Yeah.
Okay, so going to heaven is not just about doing a righteous deed.
Absolutely.
That cannot take you to heaven.
Absolutely.
If you don't follow the right God, you cannot go to heaven. So we need to establish, because there's a lot of people that, like I said, they do good things and all those things, but the moment they don't follow the right God, they are idol worshippers.
But these people who do that,
Yeah.
it depends, because if they've never come across the right message and their whole life were trying to do
I agree
good,
with that one. I'm talking about the one that knows. Me and you
that's,
know.
Yeah,
Me
that's
and-
difficult. That's
okay,
a,
but like
we're in a tricky
but me-
situation.
no, but me and you,
Yeah.
you're a Muslim, I'm a
Yeah.
Christian. So
Yeah.
both of us know.
No, yeah.
We cannot deny. I
Yeah.
cannot deny that
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know anything about Islam.
Yeah.
You cannot deny that you don't know anything about Christianity. You understand?
But you see, even there,
Yeah.
some of the scholars say, even there,
Yeah.
it depends on your understanding. So, the reason you become someone who rejects something
Yes.
is by first acknowledging that it is true. But you're like, but
good.
my parents, my family, we're Christians. Even though it might be some truth, but if you're genuinely, you believe it,
In your head.
then it is made good in your eyes. So then God will judge.
But there's something we Christians, we don't really believe in that. And I'll tell you why.
So it's a very pluralist understanding.
You see,
It's a very-
when, let's say for example, someone that's not a Muslim or a Christian,
yeah.
do they have brain to think evil, that this is evil and this is
Yeah.
why? Even though they are not Christian, they are not Muslim, they don't follow any God. Why do you think
Because-
they're able to do that?
Because there is something within us that points at God. And once you're pointed at God, falsehood in truth becomes very clear.
Exactly.
Inshallah, finish the conversation.
He's the brother.
So that's the thing. There's something, that's why God gave us free will.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
This is where the free will comes in.
Yeah.
Because God has given us free will, and we have brain to think.
Yeah.
Whether you're Muslim, Christian,
Yeah.
whoever, you can know good and bad.
Yeah.
So when you're reading Bible, you're reading Quran, there are some things that will jump out to you. Then you have, like, you just need to be honest.
Yeah.
Say for example, just because I'm a Christian now, my brother killed someone, and he's trying to pin it on a Muslim. I will not let a Muslim go down for what my brother did. Now, oh, you killed the person, I will not lie.
Absolutely.
For that, do you get it? It doesn't matter. Do you get it?
Absolutely.
If I do that, I know that what I'm doing is wrong. So we just need to be honest. So same thing, when you're reading Quran, you have to see certain things. God has made it easy for us that, okay, no worries. You actually believe in this, but when you're reading it, are you honest with what you're reading?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to show you last week. I see the difference between Bible and Quran. This is what Bible says about marriage. This is what Quran says about it.
Well, you didn't. I don't think it was a one-to-one comparison that you did. I think what you did do was you were trying to sort of reconstruct the idea of what constitutes a woman.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to do. You were trying to say, oh, look here, the Bible talks about the process of when love becomes appropriate. But like, it didn't even say that. It just talked about a process. It just talks about first you suckle the breast from the breast of your mom,
Yeah.
then you grow, then your own breast grow, and then the time period of
I missed it.
marriage or love becomes apparent.
Yeah, I missed the part
Yeah.
when in the Ezekiel,
Yeah.
if I can find it, when God said, "Now that you're old enough now
Yeah.
for love." You understand? Because after the description,
Yeah.
then God says, "Now you're old enough
Yeah.
for love. So in that part, it shows that there's a certain stage in your life
Yeah.
that you're old
Yeah.
enough. You understand?
But you see,
In
all the
Ezekiel.
yeah.
But
Sorry.
the process, but if you
Yeah.
see the process in Ezekiel,
Yeah.
it talks about the first the day that the child was born, like a day old.
Yeah.
Then when the
Yeah.
child started growing breasts,
Yeah.
God said, okay, now you're growing breast, and God left the child, come back again, and He says, okay, now you're old enough.
Yeah.
So the process there, we can see that, okay, from the day of birth
Yeah.
to growing breast, it will take at least.
Okay, but that's the thing though.
Yeah,
Like,
it will take at least
Yeah.
between that time to at least 10 years,
Yeah.
within that 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that moment, God says the baby, that child is still young, is still growing.
Yeah.
Then God came back again. So
But it doesn't say that. It just says growing breast.
Growing breast.
And it doesn't say.
age.
Well, it doesn't say. And apologies to the viewers over there. You know, the way we just
Sorry, yeah,
scripture,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, scripture. Yeah.
So you know, but it doesn't talk about the idea of like breast growing to its full.
Full, exactly. It didn't say full. It didn't
Right?
say full.
It doesn't
Yeah,
say
you're
that.
right,
It just
yeah.
says
It
the
started-
process
yeah,
of
the process of growing, yeah.
growing breast. So, and you said when you're old enough. You know, when you're old enough.
Yeah.
It's
Say,
the
say
sister.
now you're old enough for marriage.
It's
yeah.
the sister explanation of when you're too young. It's the same thing if you think about it.
Yeah, okay.
When you're old enough,
Yes.
it's very vague.
It's vague. Yeah.
The same way, too young is also very vague. You know. So I think.
No, but the thing is this:
Yeah.
if God says old enough, that means old enough is the type that you're supposed to marry. But when we're not talking about too young, that's the
No,
reverse.
but I'm saying
Yes.
the vagueness of those statements
Yeah.
are very similar because if you're saying when you're old enough,
Yes.
well, when you're old, Daddy, when am I old enough?
But-
Usually you say, well, I will tell you when you're old
Then
enough.
I do the process. Like I said, the
Yeah.
process is there.
Yeah.
The process that you can use to say someone is old enough. At least if you follow this step, you can say this person is old enough for this. Then when we now see in the Quran, it says too young. If you try to reverse that too young to marry, that means we have to go back. We can't go forward.
Oh, by the
So
way, remember, these were interpretations of people.
people.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Not the Quran
but
itself.
the interpretation of the people are the people that would call Sahaba.
Huh?
This is someone that's close to Muhammad that interpreted that way. Ibn Abbas. So if Ibn Abbas cannot interpret Quran, who am I? Who are you? We don't even.
Yeah, but I know a lot of Muslims make these claims, but that's not how the tradition works.
But they need to show us another evidence to say
There's some
otherwise.
people I think I've looked at some interpretation. There's no comment on it, so some people don't
Exactly.
even comment.
They
on
don't
it.
even comment on it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I would say,
But let's leave that one.
Yeah,
let's
okay.
leave that one because,
Yeah.
like I said, if you have to look at it, too young to me would be reverse of too old. Old enough. That's the way I would say it. So it's kind of.
I think
it's
both
kind
of them are very vague.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now let's talk about muta.
Yeah.
Do you know about muta?
Yeah, I know a tiny bit
Okay,
about
good.
it.
So the
You
thing
said
is
prostitution.
prostitution. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I call muta.
Yeah.
Do you think prostitution is sin?
I believe that prostitution is a sin.
So why
And the
did
Quran
why,
talks
so,
about
so,
them.
exactly? So why did Allah allow muta?
But then you're saying there's
Sorry. Let me quickly say, because to me, muta consists of adultery, fornication, prostitution.
Yeah. The Quran speaks in Surah An-Nisa. It talks about it talks about the idea that
Don't force people.
yeah. So if there's someone who has a servant.
Yeah.
Because that's what people used to do. They used to force their servants into prostitution.
Yeah.
And God says, no, don't do that. It's forbidden. So,
If the servant choose not to do it, they should let them be.
no. In fact, God says you're not allowed to.
No, that's not what the Quran says. It says if the slave girl decided not to, don't force them. That's what Allah said.
What?
Don't force. Like don't force the slave girl into prostitution. If the girl decide not to,
I mean, we can pull up the
let's
verse.
put it up. I think I have it.
Can I just use your phone? Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's try. Yeah. Anyway, let's define.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not the one that you're talking about because of the time.
Yeah.
So, let's say, for example, that's what you said is it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I know it's not. We can read that one. I know the Quran verse that you're talking about when when Allah said, "Don't force your slave girls." But the thing is that, what is prostitution and what is muta? What's the difference?
The difference.
Yeah.
So, so basically, prostitution is so there's different levels to this, right?
Yeah.
One level is that prostitution is a non-recognized contract, as it's not a contract.
Yeah.
Okay,
Why you say non-recognized by who?
because Allah says that you can't go and just sleep with women and pay them for it. That's against.
No, I'm just saying prostitution in general, not with Allah. With what we know, what is prostitution? Like
Prostitution is an agreement
between two people or more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But is an agreement that isn't a contract.
It is a contract.
It's not because
Okay. This is the thing. Before Quran, there's prostitution before Quran.
No.
Okay. So what we know about prostitution is exchanging sex for a service or for a gain. You understand? That's what we know. So, say for example, a man will go to a woman, "I want to sleep with you," and the woman will say, "I need £10. I need £10 for this. How many hours?" That's a contract between them. They agreed on something.
No, but it's not a contract because a contract has to be legal. A contract has to be viable via the law. That's what contract literally means. That's where the word comes from. So you can say that it's an agreement, or you can say it's a promise that both give each other, but it's not a contract. It's not like
Okay.
Look, I can give you the definition of
If
contract.
it's not a contract, but prostitution is you exchanging money for sex.
It's an
right?
exchange, yeah.
Okay, good. It's an exchange. Let's just exchange it. Then muta, you cannot do muta unless if you give someone something in exchange for it, right?
Yeah, but so it's marriage.
But it's only for sex. Muta is only for sex, because it's not a remarriage. It's temporary.
Yeah, temporary.
Same way, if someone goes to brothel, it's temporary. It's not fixed.
Yeah.
You don't live with that person, so there's no difference between both of them.
Yeah.
And what's it called? Marriage. Sex is always supposed to be in between marriage, not outside marriage. That's where fornication comes from. Sex is only supposed to be in between marriage.
Yeah.
Anything outside marriage is forbidden.
Yeah.
Adultery is someone that's married.
Yeah.
Sleeping with someone that you're not married to.
Yeah.
Fornication is having sex with someone. If you're single, both of you are single, and you're having sex, that's fornication.
Yeah.
Both of them is forbidden.
Yeah.
So in muta, a married man can do muta with someone that they are not married to, but they have an agreement. It's just an agreement. It's not marriage.
No, but it's a form
it's
of
not marriage.
No, but hold on. There's different forms of marriage.
Okay, this is not the thing, yeah? The marriage, the muta, even in Quran, if you do muta with someone, if that person gets pregnant, that child is not entitled.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's not a remarriage.
Well, hold on. The child that comes out of muta.
Out of muta, they are not entitled to full inheritance.
Yeah.
And the reason why they are not entitled to full inheritance is because they don't consider the marriage like a.
No, it's not because it's considered it's not considered marriage.
Why?
Because the woman who's a muta, this is the difference between muta and prostitution. One of the fundamentals. Now, in prostitution, the woman is not obliged to keep her vows with the man that she's sleeping with.
No, you are. If I'm paying you.
No, hold on. In prostitution, you're not. Because in prostitution, a prostitute, she can sleep with a man. 20 minutes later, another man can come.
Yeah. Same thing with muta.
No, but in muta, it doesn't work like that.
Okay, because in prostitution.
Because in muta, if I say, "Oh, we're gonna go into," and this is because I don't believe it's permissible anymore, but
we'll talk about that one as well.
Yeah. But if in muta, if I say we do a muta marriage for 3 months, then that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. But you can't go to prostitutes.
But you pay that person for 3 months.
What do you mean you pay that person for 3 months?
For muta.
That's an agreed amount of
that's
money.
what I'm saying. If you agreed for 3 months, you have to pay them a certain amount. They will agree that, okay, I'm getting this for 3 months.
But I'm saying
the same thing with prostitution.
No, but I say inherently for prostitution, she doesn't have to do that.
No, in prostitution as well. If you're gonna get someone and you tell them, I'm sleeping with you for the whole night, how much is it? 1,000. That person cannot.
I'm not saying. I'm going for a scenario where muta clashes with prostitution, because it's all good enough to say I'm gonna sleep with you tonight.
Yes.
But I'm saying, by the definition of what a prostitute is, she is not obliged to just sleep with you. She's not your wife. She can do whatever she wants.
If I'm paying her, she is. That's what I'm paying her.
For example, with prostitution,
Yeah.
the prostitute can decide what she wants to do and what she doesn't want to do.
What do you mean?
For example, if a prostitute says there's forms of prostitution,
Okay.
but there's no sexual intercourse at all.
If we agree to that, and if that's what we agreed on,
No, but no, because you said
Yeah.
muta is about sex, right?
yes.
So I'm saying to you, there's escorts,
Yeah.
which is kind of comes under the
Yeah.
umbrella of
Yeah.
prostitution.
prostitution, yeah.
They just go to eat with someone.
Yes.
They don't do any sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the difference between muta
But they're not
and-
exchanging sex for money.
No, but
That's
Hey.
not prostitution.
no, an escort.
Yeah.
Look, I can
So
read
far
it.
you're not exchanging sex. That's not prostitution.
No, but an escort.
Yeah. It's only if you're exchanging sex for a favor or for money. That's prostitution. I can go out and eat with my friend and I'll get paid for it. That's not
No,
prostitution.
but you're not doing that. But you know, I'm saying, being an escort, obviously, it's a spectrum, right? But I'm saying to you that a prostitute, she can be very specific as to what she wants to do and she doesn't want
I
to do.
get it apart. I'm
Yeah.
talking about what we agreed on. Is what I'm saying.
Huh?
Because even in muta, you can't force a woman to do muta with you. It's only if she agreed to do muta.
No, yeah, but no, I'm talking about the sex in general.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I marry a woman, okay, I have obligations, and she has obligations.
Yes.
Even with-
Remarriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even with muta. So, for example, if I'm married to a woman, and if there aren't any reasonable excuses, i.e. health or mental health, exhaustion or anything like that, there's no excuse for her to then deny me
Sex.
to have intercourse.
Yes.
Whereas with prostitutes, they can stipulate, they can be like, well, I will
Only
have
eat with you.
Yeah, I will have sexual relationship with you, but the only thing I'm going to do is giving you fellatio.
Yes.
Right? I'm just going to use my mouth.
Yes.
You can't use my ain.
Yes.
Apologies.
Sorry, yeah.
But
You
you
can't
can't
do
use
all those, yeah,
other
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
You're not allowed to touch my breast.
Yes.
Okay? All these things. Now, that in a marriage is not permissible.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Unless there's excuses. So, see, that's already a difference there. And the reason why there's a difference is because there's an understanding that the prostitute, what she does is she gives you a service, and that service is not attached with any loyalty whatsoever. Whereas with marriage, including muta, that's what I was trying to say, if I have muta with a woman for 3 months,
Yeah. She will have to do all the things.
she can't go then within those 3 months
Yes.
and sleep with another man.
That's one.
Yeah.
And she will give you what you want as well.
Yeah.
And she will give you what you need as well. She's
What do you
not
mean?
going to deny you that, oh, you cannot do this with me in muta, right?
Hold on.
That's what you're saying.
No, I'm
in
saying
muta, she will have to perform the same thing that the wife will perform as well. She will have to do the same thing. Like she cannot say, you cannot touch this, you cannot touch that in muta.
And muta, you're married.
Okay, but prostitution as well. If you're paying someone and you say, I want the full package,
Yeah.
this is what I want to do this from A to B. If she agrees to it, how much is it? 1,000, 10,000. Then she will have to do it. Because
Yeah.
you're paying, that's what you're paying for. You're not just paying for her to say, just kiss me. You understand? You're paying for her to do everything. So it depends on what both of you agreed on.
Yeah.
That's prostitution. If you agree that just smile at me, that's what I want. That's what you get paid for. Do you get it? So there's no difference in saying that, oh, just because a prostitute. And you mentioned something that she can decide that after you leave.
It's not the same. If you're with your wife
Yes.
and there's no excuses, she has the obligation, you have obligations, and they have to be fulfilled.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Marriage is different from this.
No, I'm saying even a muta.
Yeah. But the thing is, mutai, the reason why that lady would do it is because you're paying her. You're not paying your wife.
No.
You're married.
You pay your wife, of course.
No,
you
you're
dowry.
not
You give a
paying-
dowry.
Yeah, you
Yeah, it's
pay
a
your wife.
payment.
You pay your wife to be your partner. You understand? Forever. But muta is something that your agreement that, okay, we're only doing this for 3 months, 2 weeks. That's paying for service. You're not paying your wife for service.
No,
when you're paying the dowry, that's not service.
You do pay your wife for service. I can give you an example.
Dowry is not service.
Other services, breastfeeding. You pay your wife for breastfeeding.
In
Islam,
in Islam.
Yeah, your wife.
For breastfeeding
For your child.
Your child.
If your wife says, I want to be paid for this breastfeeding, she has the right to do so. And this is the point
if
of...
she refuse, if you refuse, she's not going to breastfeed the child.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that?
There's some cases like
Your
that.
child. How can she not breastfeed
No,
her
but
child?
she's been compensated for it. She's supposed to be compensated. But the point I'm trying to make is this, yeah? Yeah. Can I just have it? No. Because we finish it off anyway. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's not that you can go and kind of like customize what you want of a prostitute, right?
You can.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's not the point. I'm saying the point is the key differences, and there's many differences, many differences, right? But like I said to you, is that a prostitute there is no obligation on a prostitute to do certain things, even if she receives money, if she sets the boundaries very clear from the beginning.
But if that is if I agree to it. She can't just set boundary without me agreeing to it.
No, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
as someone who pays for her,
Yeah.
if you agree,
Yeah. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Yeah, but I'm saying in a marriage it's slightly different. In a marriage, when you're in a marriage, there are certain things that the wife cannot deny you.
Yes.
One of them is intercourse.
Yes.
For like no apparent reason.
Which I understand.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, even in muta, I get it. But what I'm trying to say is, muta, the only reason why that person is doing it is because I'm paying that person.
No, not all the time.
Muta, you have to pay. You have to.
No, but
if you don't pay, in muta,
Do you know the reason why Muta even came about? It wasn't just because there was some horny man who wanted more sex. Muta is actually comes from the term the Battle of Muta,
yeah.
which, if you look at sociologically speaking, this happens quite often. Whenever there's people, men, going to far lands and fighting, guess what happens?
But the thing is, whatever people do is different from what God.
No, but again, it goes back to the conversation we had before.
Yeah.
God is always going to factor in.
God already said, don't do it.
No, God's always going to factor. God passes laws down to humanity to govern humanity and to guide humanity, right? And out of that, situations happens, and this is what I'm talking about. For example, in Vietnam, okay, when the American soldiers went to Vietnam, prostitution was very rife, right? And there was no obligation between the two. The only exchange was money. After the deed was done, whatever happens. Was Muta is slightly different. Muta had also to do with companionship. Okay, if the man is away for a very long time, before he goes around sleeping with this woman and he sleeps with that woman and he does that and does havoc, you construct a contract which says, okay, you know what? For the 3 months that I'm here, I will be your husband and you will be my wife. And then again, it's up to the wife to agree.
And a married woman, a married Muslim woman, do muta with another man?
No, she can't.
Why?
Because women can't marry more than one man.
They can't marry more than one man.
Men can.
Men can do that.
Men can marry multiple women. Everyone knows this.
Okay, so
in Islam,
someone that has 4 wives cannot do muta.
It's a good question. I will get back to you. Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
Again, when you said what's it called? I'm trying to remember. You mentioned something because I was trying to say that there's this point.
Because even in Islam, there's hadith. It says the one who commits zina. At the moment of zina, faith leaves him and it floats above him.
Yeah.
There's a clear distinction between just having a fling and sleeping around.
See,
and
there's a way you can wrap something to make it look good. You understand that? The way we see it, muta is wrapped with like a ribbon, golden ribbon, but it's prostitution.
It's not.
Okay.
I've already given you so many examples of why it's not the same.
Yeah, I get it. But the thing is this here: if there's something called adultery, which is a man that's already married sleeping with someone that you're not married to, that is prostitution.
No, but you're married to the lady, though.
Yeah, but when you say you're married to the lady, and I said, if that muta, something happened that the person get pregnant, what happened to the child? Do they have full inheritance? You said no.
No, but the same way concubines and their children don't have full inheritance.
Because they are not fully married. Because they're
but that's
not married.
No, but
they're not married.
No, but there's different ways.
Yes. If muta is actually a marriage, then a child.
No, but there's different ways besides marriage.
Yes.
And you would be surprised. That's why Abraham had Zara, right? There's in the eyes of God.
Yeah.
There's different ways on how man and woman can be in the eyes of God other than marriage. There's one way.
Not apart from the way God says it. You cannot be apart from the way God says it.
Yeah, of course we agree. But I'm saying to you that Abraham is a very good example. Okay.
Yeah, for his time. Not
No, okay,
our time.
whether it's his time or not, I'm just giving you an example that it happens.
It happens, yeah.
So we must not mistake this for like confusing forms of human service, exploitation, yeah, between forms of people being together. I don't agree, for example, with how people organize themselves nowadays when it comes to like unions. You know, when they say, for example, polygyny, so or open relationship. Like, I don't think it's conducive. I think it brings more harm than good. And we've seen it with high-profile celebrities like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett doing this whole. Oh, look at him now, you know. So,
just to round up here, let me quickly say this. According to you, your understanding, is muta still allowed today?
I don't think it is.
Okay.
That's sort of like the.
We don't really have enough time to talk about it. Oh, there's one more thing that I was going to say.
And also, someone who, if you think about prostitution, prostitution is a profession almost. Yes. It's like, at least in the mind of the woman, right? She looks at it more from a, what's it called? Economical perspective.
Well, the same thing is muta, because they're getting something. According to your
But then
belief,
you can say marriage also then.
According to your belief, but wait, 5 minutes. According to your belief now, looking at Bible and looking at Quran, do you think muta is from Yahweh? Do you think Yahweh is the God of Bible, is the one that's talking in Quran that says muta is allowed? According to what you've read about Bible and what you've read about Quran, do you think it's the same God that's talking? Because God says a lot about prostitution in Bible. You should not do this. He even said to Israelites, the people that I'm sending out of the land that you're doing, they prostitute themselves. Do not do this or else I will destroy you. God warned people about doing certain things they're not supposed to do. Are you saying that same God is the one that allowed it?
I mean, if God allowed Abraham to have another, like, according to the Bible.
God didn't tell him to do it. He did it. You know, there's different
No,
from what we do.
But God didn't chastise him either.
Yeah, but at the time that you did it.
Okay, I'm not interested in the time right now because I just want to demonstrate.
Yeah, I get it. At the time that he did it, God didn't tell him to do it. He did it. Maybe God forgive him or nothing. And in order for something to be a sin, God will have to tell you beforehand, don't do this. If God didn't tell you don't do it and you do it, it's not a sin. So God didn't tell Abraham not to do it. If God said don't do it and you did it, then that's a sin.
Yeah, of course.
So I wouldn't call it a sin. What Abraham
No, I'm not saying it's a sin.
Exactly.
I'm saying that's an example, because you asked me about the Bible and the Quran. There's an example where God allows Abraham, and allowing, I'm saying here, he doesn't chastise Abraham
it's
for it.
because he hasn't said to them before. He hasn't said anything to them before that don't do it. But now that he's told us not to do it, that's what I'm saying. So now that he's told us do not do this, how can it not be the same from the same God? That's what I'm saying.
No, but hold on. Are you saying that God changes? Because you're saying to me that you want a God that's consistent.
Yeah.
How is it possible that he allows Abraham to do it?
When you say allows, okay, this is a thing.
He didn't.
We have free will to do
but
things.
did he chastise Abraham? That's
no.
Okay.
And ask me why. Because he didn't say to Abraham, do not do this thing before.
No. Because sometimes people
Abraham is not supposed to know everything.
No, people make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the only way you make a mistake is if someone, even if you didn't know, someone tells you afterwards, look, I know you didn't know, but don't do this again. Okay?
Yes.
Abraham never happened. That never happened to him.
But
we have examples in the Bible where it happens.
When Moses now came. That's when God now told them, do not do this, do not do that. During the time of Moses.
What was doing?
God condemns it. You cannot marry your brother, your sister, this and that.
Yeah, but what has that to do with more women?
Sorry?
What has that to do with polygyny?
No, I'm saying because you said God didn't chastise, what's it called? Abraham.
For this
For
very
what he did.
No, for this very not. We're talking about a very specific example. We're talking about
because of this guy. So
Yeah,
I
we
don't
talk
want
about
him
marriage.
to-
Yeah, I know. You're talking about marriage and having more multiplied women. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking
Oh,
about...
you're talking about multiple women.
No, that's what we're talking about. Because
Oh,
you
I'm
said
sorry,
to
I
me...
thought you were talking about marrying the sister. I thought that's what you were trying to say.
No, because you said, if you look at the Bible, if you look at the Quran, do
No,
you
the
believe...
muta is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Muta. Marrying a lot of women, it was Jesus Christ that said we should not do it. So everything that they did before that time, it was fine. But it was Jesus Christ that said we should only marry one. You understand?
Yeah.
Then after Jesus Christ, anybody that do that is a sin. You understand?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that people did in the past that God can't judge them for it. Because if you don't know if something is a sin, God will not judge you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Abraham marrying his sister. I thought that's what you were saying.
Oh, no.
And I did, I did the research. I didn't even know that they've done the research in, I think, Kent University and Reading University about, they tried to compare skeletons of young girls in the, 1,005 years ago.
Yeah.
They did a lot of ranges of 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, just to see how old people, the age that people reached puberty in the olden days, that kind of a thing. And they come to conclusion that there wasn't a lot of difference. There's between 10 and 12. There's not a lot of difference since then till now. Do you get it? So if you have to look at it, maybe you can look into it as well.
But-
Because I want to keep my promise to this guy. I don't want to get back.
Yeah, I think it's just ongoing. It's an ongoing conversation.
something. So if we can talk about
I would love to do that.
some other time.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, but please try and look into these things because it's not good to ignore things.
Yeah, what,
You understand?
the skeleton?
The skeleton, look into it
Yeah.
and look into actually
Muta.
what prostitution is
Yeah.
and what muta is.
Yeah, I have.
It's
and
really- it's really-
I
really-
do
it's
more,
really
and then
important.
we talk about. But
Yeah.
like I said, prostitution again.
Yeah. Because of him, I don't want to, because there's
Yeah.
a lot I can show.
Yeah.
But because
Okay.
of him, I
thank
really
you.
appreciate talking to you.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sorry, what's your name?
Larry.
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 So, Larry, good behavior, good conduct. May Allah guide all of us, and thank you for the conversation. Brothers and sisters, please continue to support and support Salam and what we do. Every Sunday we're here. It's vital that